Oh, hello everybody, it's Kirsty. Today I wanted to talk about Mercury retrograde. Now, I know you have probably, if you're into astrology, and obviously if you're here, you are, then you hear about Mercury retrograde all the time and it's just like, blah, blah, blah. Mercury's retrograde again. Can you believe it? I live in a rainforest. Every time I press record, something happens, like bikes and trucks and frogs and dogs. Okay, so I wanted to discuss this Mercury retrograde, what it really entails, and what the hell is going on at the moment, because I am not the only one that's seeing it. I'm sure of it. People are being so mean to each other. Like, you know, I know people can be mean to each other all the time, and they often are. But at the moment, it's like off the wall. Emotions are just like blah, spilling out. So, okay, so Mercury every 4 times a year it goes retrograde, and what retrograde is, it appears, it doesn't go backwards, but it does a period called a station where it appears to slow down, stop, go backwards, and then move on forwards. It's not just something that's made up by the astrology community, it's a thing. So Mercury itself is to do with communicating, and like Mercury covers so many things, like hundreds and hundreds of things, but the main essence of Mercury is communication and neighbours, siblings, and school, you know, especially lower school, sort of below, sort of high school and below. So how children communicate at school is something that is important during Mercury retrograde. And I've noticed that my daughter's school, a lot of things have been going on, people have been going crazy, and it happened exactly when Mercury went retrograde, which was, it was the 17th of February when it started, and it finishes on the 10th of March, I do believe, or between the 10th and the 15th. I think it starts to station and go direct. So I saw this, people like butting heads immediately when Mercury went retrograde this time. It's in Pisces, so Pisces is emotional and crybaby Pisces. Not all Pisces are like that, but if you have a strong Pisces in your chart, then and Mercury just happens to be near a planet that is in Pisces, then you may feel this extra strong. So you may feel like sort of just backing into your home, and you know that gif with Homer when he's like going into the bush. That's what it feels like. Just back into the bush and say nothing. This shadow is annoying me. Okay, I'll sit this way. It's going to stay in Pisces until the 4th of March. It is going to go into Aquarius, back into Aquarius. That is when you need to be wary about computer stuff, because Aquarius is the ruler of sort of computers. I mean, Mercury is as well. Mercury governs the communication that occurs on the computers, so emails and phones, text messages, all sorts of things like that. But when it goes into Aquarius, things start to go wrong. Gadgets start to go wrong. So I don't really recommend backing up your computer or anything unless you do it regularly all the time anyway. In panic, you know, don't do that. But if something goes wrong with your phone or your computer, then also, you know, don't massively panic, because it's likely that it could just as quickly go back to normal. On the 9th of March, when it moves back into Pisces, you'll be like, oh, okay, everything's suddenly working. So So yeah, Mercury retrograde, it happens a lot. We hear about it all the time. It's the most commonly used astrology transit or term or whatever it is, I think, that I have seen around. Everyone seems to know when Mercury is retrograde, but not everybody knows exactly what it really entails. So what you need to do, and I've said this in my lessons, in my other videos, when Mercury is in retrograde, it's time to retrograde, R-E, it's time to rethink the things you say, reevaluate the things you do, reflect on things. Basically, all the things with re in front of it, utilize those words. Before you start spewing stuff out of your mouth, whether it be to a person or on Facebook or whatever, reevaluate what you're saying and how that's going to affect the other person, because in Pisces, it'll affect the other person greatly. And, you know, people might go, well, that's just, I can say what I want, it's up to them if they get offended. Well, that's true as well, I suppose. But if you're like me and you don't like offending people and you don't want to have drama in your life, then reevaluate what's going on during a Mercury retrograde. So that's what I like to do. My brain actually works a little better when Mercury's in retrograde, and a lot of you may find that as well, that somehow when it happens you feel more on the ball. A couple of friends that I've got are the same way, and it becomes everything written and comprehensible. Anything that we read or look at seems to be magnified, and I can take it in a lot better. So it's not all bad. Mercury isn't always, oh, everything's going to go wrong, don't sign a contract, don't do this, don't do that, don't drive your car, whatever. You know, that if you did everything against what Mercury represented, you wouldn't even step out of the house. So just be aware of that. Just re-evaluate during the Mercury retrograde period. If you're going to do something after Mercury retrograde, so you know you have plans around the 10th of March, you know, big plans, or if you're going to sign something, or you're going to communicate something with somebody that's really important, or something big's going to happen where you have to talk to somebody or write something down, if you know ahead of time now that that's going to happen later, think about it all now. Reflect on it. Really go over everything again and again. Redo it until it's perfect. Another thing that I found that I really wanted to say with Mercury when it goes retrograde is a lot of answers come out with the criminal astrology. People start getting found that are missing, either alive or deceased. But for some reason it starts to bring back the case into the limelight and things get resolved. Not all the time, obviously, but I will say I have a feeling that there's a couple of cases that are going to be resolved during this Mercury retrograde period, or will show themselves at the end of it. So around the 10th or mid-March, we'll start seeing some real results from a few cases that have been going on that we have no answers to. So yeah, Mercury retrograde really encompasses a whole lot of stuff, and it's not just a time of fear, but it is a time of reflection and responding with thought to other people. So if you're having a hard time, or you're feeling that you're not getting along with everybody at the moment, or something, you're having fights or whatever, or other people are not being nice to you and you feel attacked, it'll go away. And hopefully soon, sort of collectively, the whole world will start to really understand what Mercury retrograde truly means. Not just go into a panic of, it's retrograde, what am I going to do? But actually understand that it's the reason why we use it astrologically is because it helps. It helps us understand how not to get into these situations of arguing and fighting and communicating wrong and sending stupid Facebook messages that that are not meant to be sent, and that's just an example. I'm trying, you know, there's all sorts of things. Gossip, you know, people talking about each other behind each other's backs. All of that stuff happens during a Mercury retrograde. But then, for some reason, when it stops, that tends to stop a little bit as well. So it's almost as if people can't even help themselves. But if you're woke, if you're growing spiritually, then you will become more aware of what Mercury retrograde really is. And yeah, like I said, 4th of March till the 9th, it'll be in Aquarius, so protect your computers. Precious computer. No doubt I won't put any videos up because they won't work. YouTubers, you might find that you can't upload or something like that. Crazy shit happens during Mercury retrograde, but also some really good shit happens too. The minute that the retrograde started, my views went through the roof, and I am stoked about that because I've been working on this channel for so long. I thought, oh, I've got reverb. Wonder if that helps. Okay. First of all, I'll show everyone my tattoos because they're so cute. That's a transit that I went through. Okay, so what I thought would be a good thing to do is look through this book, which I love, The Rulership Book by Rex E. Bills. Now, you can look by, it gives rulership, so where are we? We can look by letter, just any word, or we can look by planet, by sign, or by house. So I'm going to go to Mercury. Get to Mercury. Come on. Oops. Go back. There's so many pages. Okay. Mercury. All of these things are representative of Mercury. It goes on and on and on to Venus. Okay, so I'm going to read out just a few things. So this is the sort of things that can be affected when Mercury goes retrograde. I'll go in alphabetical order. Absent-mindedness, accounting, accuracy, acoustics, acquaintances, ad writers, advertising, advice, advisors, affidavits, travel agents, written agreements, the air in the body and its circulation, airmail, airway travel and transport, being alert, amalgamations, amnesia, androgyny, animals in general, blah, blah, blah. I can't read the whole thing because it just goes on and on. Artists, automobiles, automobile trips, bank tellers, barking, dog barking. Isn't that interesting? Bisexuality is apparently a Mercury thing. Biographies, bills, celery. Something's gone wrong with your celery, Mercury retrograde. The breath, the brain, bad breath, that's a Mercury thing. Briefcases, bronchitis, buses or any type of travel. The seats in a church, like we're getting to the nitty-gritty here. Cousins, siblings, delirium. Okay, communication, this is what it says. So commentators and columnists, commerce, commissioners, blah, blah, blah. Communication, all means of communication. We have insomnia, insanity, intellect, intestines, interviews, nerves, notes, obituaries, observation, maps, letters, libel, short journeys, investigating, investigators, pencils and pens, young people, writing, restlessness, responding, reflexes, thumbs, tongues, skeptics and skepticism. That's an interesting one. I've been getting a lot of that lately. Textbooks, tellers and workers, theft, petty theft, the sense of touch, trickery, tutors, twins, trumpets, trombones, vehicles in general, small and light vehicles more so than anything, vocal cords, voice disorders, problems with the voice, not the throat, the voice. Valerian, the herb, is associated with Mercury, so that could be a good thing if you've got some issues that needs that. Whistling, whispering. Oh, whispering. That's interesting that people think I've been doing ASMR. Okay, so, yeah, witnesses, witty people, writers, writing, blah, 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 blah. So many things, as you see, are covered by Mercury. So many things can happen. Things can go wrong, things can go right, but that's a good coverage overall of Mercury. So I hope you found that helpful. Sorry about the shadows. One day I'll get this YouTubing thing right. Okay, everybody, take care. Thank you for watching again. Thank you for all your comments and new subscribers, and don't forget to subscribe again. Not again, but if you haven't, subscribe. Okay, bye. Take care.